What it do, Bruce, Juice, crew? We got a juicy one for you today as we're talking about those juicy matchups for the running backs. We're going game by game, matchup by matchup, looking at the juiciest defenses for running backs to splash and get all moist against them. But before we begin, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're helping you set your lineups with multiple different videos, including the must start video where we talk about every single player. We're going deeper on the waiver wire than anybody else. We're deep diving all the trending prospects. Where you see the you need video, that's a trending player. People got questions. We just deep dive the player. You just make your choice. It's all about your choice, and I'm here to help you out. Click that button. Stop missing out. And the reason for this video gives you value because you can go right down the list of the softer defenses, see where your running back's at, and see if your running back's in there. Helps you with prop bets, help you think for the future when you're looking at the softer defenses for your schedules, for your fantasy team, a lot of different routes. Plus, everybody else is doing tier rankings, and you're just waiting for your player to get ranked with a little bit of information. Here, you get the matchup. Here you get the defense they're playing up against. And our first player, softest matchup, not ranking by the best player, ranking by the matchup, is Jaylen Warren against the Bengals. Per FF Today and per what they're allowing PPR-wise, the most on the season towards running backs. We'll do the top 10, but we're looking at this matchup today. 49.5 over under right now on a Friday. Bengals Steelers. Flacco's expected to push the script here. They are on the road, so it could be a little different. And the Bengals are giving up fantasy points to all running backs. All running backs are at least hitting the fairway against them. That is a big deal here. Warren should easily hit the fairway here. Sounds like he's getting more work. And maybe that was mentioned in the media because they're looking at this matchup and they're seeing these numbers. They're seeing what the Bengals are giving up. So these last few weeks, 32 points, 19.8, which was Warren, 28.7, 22.8. Money guy hit up against them in his first ever start. This is a splash matchup. Now we're looking at Ashton Jeanty. And he hasn't really went off since like week 4. But this could be the game where he takes it home. We got 50.5 over under against the Cowboys. Cowboys always got those high over unders because they can push it, but they ain't got the defense to hold it back. And you're looking at this. They're allowing 27.2 PPR fantasy points per game. On average, they're getting blown up multiple times throughout the season. They held down the Cardinals, but those are butt-rock running backs. You're looking at this. Ashton Jeanty better smash or there's something wrong here. He's going to be getting the opportunities. He's going to be getting about 20-ish opportunities. It could be 18, 22, 25. He should be around 20-ish opportunities in this matchup against a defense where you should be able to splash against. Ashton Jeanty, smash matchup for the week. Packers, Giants, 42.5 over under. And the Giants, after 2 games where they were holding it down very good, just blow it up. Saquon, McCaffrey, Swift, Josh Jacobs is going to be getting the touches. He's going to be getting the workload here. Manny Wilson might sneak something in this matchup if it really falls apart. They're down at quarterback. The over-under's low. Packers defense, different quarterback, and them up in this game. They got a spread of 7, so it's kind of thick there. It's not double digits, but it's kind of thick there. I see Josh Jacobs just having a lot of volume, getting you there at least to the fairway. Rico Dowdle versus the Falcons. The Falcons had a point in the season where they were nasty against running backs. So looking at this matchup, it's not a guarantee. It's just not a guarantee. However, McCaffrey, Achane, Hendo, Jonathan Taylor, all studs. Hendo, the rookie, though, with upside, all splashed against him. Hendo hit the fairway. But we also got a touchdown by Terrell Jennings in that matchup. They're allowing 26.8 PPR fantasy points per game. They also have games where they hold you in check. So they got to come correct. Rico Dowdle scored 10.8 against them earlier in the season with limited workload. I expect him, since he's got the Q, I expect him to be out there, but I expect him to at least get you to the fairway in this matchup. Texans, Titans, 37.5 over under here. Tennessee has given up fantasy points to running backs. They held the Chargers in check there, but they're also having offensive line issues. Outside of that, every single game before that game, they're at least allowing the running backs to hit the fairway. If you're new here, the fairway is scoring around 10 to 15 to 17 PPR fantasy points. Anything below 20 and past 10, really, in PPR. You do have a game script here at 37.5. They had a game script of 39 last week by Vegas. Implied point total when you're looking at the over-under. That being said, that could bust loose. And we're looking at Cam Ward. The last few weeks, like the last 5 or so games, he's been throwing well over 220 yards in most of those contests. We're looking at that. We could get a game script that's pushed a little bit. Woody Marks has been getting more opportunity, and he has been hitting the fairway more consistently now with a couple lower games, which makes it kind of scary when it happens. Now we're in the part of the schedule where we should blow up if we're a thing. We should do something. We're poking a stick, and it should roll over if we're a thing. Bucks, Bills. And we're looking at Bucky Irving. This is doubtful by his name. If he's out there, if things turn around, of course, that's common sense, right? But considering that, Rachaad White, Sean Tucker should be earning more carries up the gut, maybe more red zone looks, something to look at. Rachaad White working the passing game. Both these running backs are just gambles in your flex right now. But we got a game script that can push them. Just because they're on this list does not mean I'm going to be in their favor. It's just all by the metrics of these defenses, and I'm just going to keep it real with you, honestly. You got a good over-under here at 47.5. You got the Bills who are in good game scripts every single week. The Bucks are in good game scripts every single week. Rachaad White's not hitting in every single good game script either. That's something to pay attention to. So it's about him racking up check downs and getting it in space. Sean Tucker's about getting that touchdown. He'll probably rush for around 50-ish yards unless he breaks one loose. That's the thing about this. I think the odds for one of these running backs to hit will be increased. Both of these running backs have reasons why you should put them in the flex. Rachaad White, the targets. Sean Tucker, that touchdown. Couple extra carries. I say a couple extra because they got to have White out there for the passing game. They got to have him out there. I don't see Sean Tucker taking the whole damn thing over. I could definitely see him getting like 10-plus carries and maybe a couple goal line looks. I can see Rachaad White getting 5-ish targets in this matchup. You got a spread here, 5.5. Looks like we should be getting some good back and forth in this game. Pushing it, Ravens, Browns. And the Ravens on the season has allowed every backfield to hit the fairway. You do have a 38.5 over-under. That's mainly Dillon Gabriel. He can't throw it past 5 yards. He has been the joke of the league among quarterbacks here. They're going to pound it out with Judkins. The thing about this with Gabriel, we saw this with the Jets, is you can key on Judkins. You can key on Judkins. It was 4th and 1. It was obvious you could go Judkins there. It was late in the game. They went with the pass. And Reese, in the interviews yesterday, kind of said he wished he didn't do it. But like it wasn't like the wrong call because they had like 4 guys open to play. And Dillon Gabriel just took the sack instead of just standing tall, stepping back a bit, and just slinging it. And you're looking at that. Teams can key on the run. The Browns showed you with that play call, they key on the run. So there is some risk here. He should be okay for the fairway. He should be. He is busted quite frequently. He's got you at 10.5 last week. You're looking at that. But he should be pretty good to hit in the fairway this week. Commanders, Dolphins. And I'm not in on the Commanders' offense. I'm not in on this mess of these running backs. Chris Rodriguez is looking like he's taking the workload. Jacory Croskey-Merritt's getting sprinkled in a little bit. Then you got a little McNichols. But this is also a matchup where things could get sneaky good for these running backs. But we're also looking at the year average here. In the last 3 weeks, the Dolphins has actually been holding it in check, less than league average by 17.3%, allowing just 18.7 points per game. And they kept the Falcons in check, Derrick Henry, and James Cook. None of them blowing up for past 15 PPR fantasy points. Prior to that, they were getting busted up every single week. So there is risk to this game. You do have a higher over-under to this matchup. Vegas is expecting this to be higher scoring. Dolphins are at home, so maybe you get some good pushback in this game. I expect someone to be very, very sneaky in this matchup. Bucks, Bills. Of course, James Cook. I think this is going to be a good matchup for him. Every matchup's good for James Cook because he's on the Bills. All the game scripts are being pushed. There will be a few games here and there sprinkled in where he busts. You're just going to have to eat it. You're just going to have to eat it. To get these results, to get it in your lineup every single week of James Cook, you're just going to have to take a couple of those games. Like with any other running back in the league. That's just football. Football's going to football. You got a good matchup here to lean into. 47.5 over under. The question here is that you had one with the Dolphins, but Dolphins are turning up, getting a little bit stronger here. But you're also seeing him turn up against Carolina, the Chiefs, and then down games against the Pats and Atlanta. Both teams, historically, throughout the season, I guess it's not really history, it's been a few weeks, have been looking strong against running backs. The Bucks here, a little bit more than league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. They do have a couple down games. Kamara, Hall, busted up game scripts. Busted up game scripts. That's the trend there. This game script's probably not going to bust up. Now you're looking at Devin Achane. Easy money here. Easy money here against the Washington Commanders. They're right around league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. He should be able to get the targets in this matchup. If not, ram it home up the gut. There should be good opportunity in this game here when you're looking at this. And we got a 47.5 over under. Dolphins are at home. Looking at the numbers here, this should be fine for him. This should be solid. I'm not seeing any bust weeks in single digits either. So when you're looking at him, very safe. Bijan Robinson against the Carolina Panthers. Last 3 weeks for the Carolina Panthers, because now we're looking at defenses and how they've been looking in the last 3 weeks to round out our top 12. James, Cook, Jacobs, Kamara, all hitting up against them. They're softening up. They're starting to soften up. Studs are blowing up against them. And now we're looking at Bijan, who scored 16.1 earlier in the season against a team who's allowing 23.2% more than league average to running backs, in a position where he can cash out this week. Now it's Niners-Cardinals. I'm kind of looking at Emari Demercado here. I think we're going to get good pushback in this matchup. I think the bet here and the gamble here to go up against this, because the last 3 weeks, they've allowed running backs to hit against them. And actually, they have stifled Benson. The Cardinals, that was a busted-up game script. And Singletary against the Giants, another busted-up game script. That was the game Cam Scatterboo went out. And we're looking at this. And Emari Demercado, there's a lot of risk here for these running backs for the Cardinals. Brock Purdy's in. We got to see what that looks like. Could be some changes to the 49ers offense. This could be a slower game script. Got 48.5 over-under. Not 100% with it this week. I can definitely see Vegas being right. They're right on a lot of weeks, but there's also like 3-ish games where it's just like totally off. I could definitely see this game script getting kind of weird. Marvin Harrison Jr. out. Harder for them to push the game script here. Harder for a lot of things. They do have to go to other reads in the passing game. Emari Demercado might get some extra targets in that route. That's something to pay attention to. Just because it's a softer matchup here, just because the numbers are rolling in to look like that, does not mean that it's going to be the grandest matchup on the season. Niners are right at league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs. That being said, there's a chance that he gets that big play. Those are the running backs in the juicy matchups. Who's that juice you're going to squeeze this week? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.